Good morning, Don Jalbert here, Pace of Ownership Podcast. I'm coming to you from the mothership at the house in Overland Park, Kansas. I want to talk about ownership. For ownership, there is the mentality that is a pace, and you being an entrepreneur, an entrepreneur, whatever the case may be, it's about following the money. And how do you get that money? Well, you got to sell something, and you've got to sell it for more than it makes cost, direct and indirect costs, than it does to make it. That's called profit. If you're not doing that, you don't have a business. So ownership is key. At Exhibit Associates, we broke it down into two key tenets, two key KPIs, um, and those tenets are positive customer experience and actuals match estimates. And I'll explain those in a minute. And then we have some KPIs. I won't go into the KPIs because it's irrelevant. Find a KPI. That's how you figure out how your company is doing. How is your company doing? So ownership is kind of key because if you're an entrepreneur, you're at a large company and they gave you a business unit, you still want to track that money. You still want to see how you're doing. Are you contributing to the overall goals of the organization and generating positive cash flow for the company? If not, you're somebody's pet project and a hobby and it will end soon. If you're in business for yourself and you're not making a profit, it will end soon. So ownership is kind of hard. And I don't mean it's difficult to do. I mean, if you're not good at it, it's not going to last. So, what are your key tenets? And ours are positive customer experience and actuals match estimates. So, a customer has a good experience with us, they're going to keep coming back for more. If our actuals match our estimates, that's good. That means we're pricing an estimated project well, and we're making a profit. So, customers keep coming back for more, we make a profit, it's all beneficial. And in the last couple of months, I haven't made a post here for over a month. Last couple of months, it is strictly because business has been excellent. So, and that's the good part about ownership. Now, over the last 9 years at Exhibit Associates, it hasn't all been rosy. And one of the issues is we weren't focused on key KPIs. We didn't have our tenants down. Now we have it down. Now we track them every day. We look at our KPIs every day. We see how every project goes and we keep pushing forward because ownership is not easy. It is not easy because it is cold, because if you're not good at it, you won't last. It's that simple. I'm not trying to scare anyone out of ownership, but if you think that you're going to go out there and sell candles, make sure you have a good business model. Make sure you have a good distribution setup. Because that's scale business. That's nothing but scale. You can't sell one candle a day. You got to sell 1,000 candles a day. I assume. A friend of mine did that. Um, I don't. He had a great vision, and it just didn't work out. And then you never know. You got to build that reserve, mental and physical reserve, because when something like a pandemic hits, or the crash of '08, or 9/11, well, what's next? Hits injury or illness in your family. Yeah, you may close the greatest deal you've ever had at margin, and it could change the trajectory of your business. And the next day, someone close to you in your inner circle is in a car accident. That big deal doesn't seem so important. So, ownership. That's what this is about. What I'm going to do on the Pace of Ownership podcast is I am going to, over the next 10 posts, really quickly go through the 10 foundations and the blog posts from Afghanistan that were the foundation for this podcast. Now, the reason I'm going to do that is right after that, I'm going to have an interview with someone out of Miami. She's awesome. She's in the NFT space. Absolutely dynamic individual. Very excited to have her on the podcast. Then I'm going to go after her. Then we're going to talk about the key tenets of Exhibit Associates, how we came to them, and about our KPIs and how we came to that, and why it was so hard to come up with our KPIs. And in a nutshell, we were overthinking it. So ownership. I want to keep it under 5 minutes. It's hard because if you don't make the profit, it's not going to work out. And if you're inside a company and you're not having that positive cash flow, it's going to end soon. So ownership, you really got to think about the bottom line. You got to think about what creates that bottom line. And for us, it's the KPIs, it's the tenants, and for me, it's these 10 foundations and how I apply them in Afghanistan and how I apply them at Exhibit Associates. And I'll go back to Afghanistan. I'll go back to the blog post that started these 10 and explain how I'm applying it today, how I applied it in Afghanistan, because going into a combat zone in Afghanistan, there was people dying every day, and it doesn't make you anything. That type of pressure doesn't make you. It exposes you. It shows you who you are and what you're capable of, or what you're incapable of. I've seen that. So, from Afghanistan to Exhibit Associates in the next 10 days, stay tuned. We're going to go fast. Thanks for playing along. And this is the Pace of Ownership podcast. My name is Don Jalbert. If you want to reach out to me at don@paceofownership.com, don@paceofownership.com. Thanks. Have a great day. And let's finish up 2021 stronger than 2020. Thanks for playing along.